Hey, this is Dr. Carla Michelle with another episode on the Strong Network podcast. I'm so happy, as always, to have this time with you as we dive into another interesting conversation. What do you think about liars? Liars in your workplace? How is that affecting you? Hmm? I know there are many times that we have to experience things that we don't like to experience in the workplace. And one of them is dealing with your coworker, supervisor, executive, wherever you are, whoever you are, um, being affected by someone not telling the truth, that is misrepresenting who you are and what you stand for. And this episode, we're just going to kind of navigate liars and how that works in professional, and we'll touch on a little personal as well. We have to be equipped because it will happen. It has happened to me, and I'm sure, like I said earlier, it has happened to you. So, what does it look like here as we dive a little deeper on the Strong Network podcast with me, Dr. Carla Michelle? I'm so happy, as always, to have this time. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I would love to share this time or hit that little notification bell as well, because you will see episodes coming at you. And also, don't forget, there's like 140 episodes here for you to look at and for you to enjoy, whether on YouTube or whether you are subscribing, listening at your favorite podcast handler. If you are on Apple, go ahead and please think about giving a rating. 5 stars appreciated. Just helps with the algorithm of getting the Strong Network podcast out to listeners like you. So, navigating the liar, what are some strategies we can come up with? Because it's important that something happening to us in the workplace can mess with our future. It can mess with our overall, just truly our well being. I remember a time where I was in a new position and someone shared the same title. We were in a spot where we were frozen. There was no hiring, and I wasn't actually hired fully as a full-time person. And there were some things that just came up that were very hurtful, that put me in a position where you question your value, you question, did I misrepresent myself? Did I say something? Did I do something? And apparently I had said something that rubbed that other person wrong. And then it became this thing where I felt attacked in such a way that I thought it could possibly interfere with what my career goals were. So did they lie? Maybe it was truth for them and how they felt. And that's one thing about lying in the workplace. You never know and never understand someone else's interpretation. So to you, it could feel like they're lying, right? But to them, it's like a truth. And so, how do we navigate where someone's to you lie and to someone else it's a truth? How do you find that mid ground where you can keep going, where you can keep striving and keep thriving, even though there's been a disconnect? I am happy to say that that eventually worked itself out over time. It was really uncomfortable to come to work, to have that pressure of knowing that someone was not feeling you, making it very obvious, ignoring you, the silent treatment, sitting in meetings and not wanting to, interact. Now, I will own that I think at that time, you want the job. So you're going to show all your leadership skills. You're going to show all your strength. You are somewhat competitive because you want an income. And at the time, the kids were young, all 4 of them. There were things that I wanted, like health insurance. There was things like I wanted to stop getting unemployment, things like that. So I did show up in a way. I am sure, I am positive, because I know I was that person who was going to make sure that my kids had something on the table. And so was this person. But in that, a lot of stuff happened, a lot of pulling into meetings, a lot of people trying to mediate the relationship. And the way that we both responded was different, but yet I still have to say at the end, it found some peace. Well, both were hired. And so it found some peace and we were able to go on. And years later, decades later, we were able to still, be good people towards each other and good friends. So what is lie and then what is how someone perceives it as their truth? You want to be aware of that, but it did negatively impact how I felt going to work, what I did, how I showed up. I almost felt like I pulled back. So if you are dealing with something like that at work and you decide to pull back because of the tension, I would ask you to find something else. Don't pull back unless you need to correct something that you've been doing, right the wrong, but pulling back from a skill, a talent, a know-how or something that you can offer, I don't know if you can do, I don't think you should do that. Only because it is you cowering back, cowering down, and not letting your true self be seen. So it's very important that you learn how to manage your emotions during this time and not isolate. I have to say that. So when you think about dealing with dishonesty in your realm, wherever you are, it can undermine your trust for yourself. It can disrupt your work and can mess up your reputation. It can, as I felt it was going to do, it was going to interfere with my progress, with my hiring, with this new title that I was going for and wanted and needed and required for my children, for my life. But you have to understand that it happens. So don't think it's strange when someone is not telling the truth. Someone is straight up lying, or someone feels that what you've done is wrong and they treat you a certain way and they say things about you and they start turning people against you. I think about, how do you recover? And there's this philosopher, his name is Friedrich Nietzsche, and it says, I'm not upset that you lied to me. I'm upset that from now on, I can't believe you. I'm not upset that you lied to me as much as I'm upset that from now on, I can't believe you. How do you work with somebody that you just don't trust? It just messes up the whole dynamic of the team. It messes up how you interact with your leader. It messes up how you interact with your direct reports. Because once you feel lied to, there's just how do you recover from that? So it is important that trust is the foundation of the relationship. So if there is a way that you can mend it, go for it. But if there is not, then what do you do? Would you quit your job? Would you find another department? I mean, what would you do? I've seen many scenarios, heard many scenarios. They have quit, they have transferred, and then some just have to stick it out because there is nowhere else to go. And they have learned to strengthen up their mind and found new strategies on how to maneuver and move forward and still get the work done. So, how do I identify if someone's lying? Here's some of my points here. How do they approach the situation? What do you want to do when you're in a meeting? I say, don't meet alone. Don't meet alone. If you can get away with not meeting alone, who is going to be there to be your witness or even their witness? Recording is good. I know we meet by Zoom. So is it recorded? Is it transcribed? There's a way that you can kind of protect yourself if there's something that keeps happening, if you're misrepresented to the higher ups by this person, go ahead and record, track it, see if you don't meet alone. See, clarification is another one. How are you going to approach a conversation? You can be very transparent and say, I know there's some tension here. I feel it. Do you feel it? And if there's like, no, 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 most of the time they say that, no, 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 I don't feel any tension. Well, then you say, if it ever comes up where you're feeling a little thrown off by our interaction, I would love to, talk further about it. Oh yeah, yeah, sure. You probably get that. Oh yeah, yeah, sure, we're fine. But you probably, if someone is not telling the truth, you probably will not get the truth. So don't expect the truth from someone who is not telling the truth about you. Because as we go on in this podcast, we're going to list a little bit um, about why people lie, because there's different reasons why people lie. And I will say one, and you probably figured it out, is the fear. Fear is one of the biggest things why people lie. Fear of their future, fear of their present, fear of their money being lost, fear of you're better than them, insecurities. Okay, I'm going to stop because I don't want to get it. But yet, when you're in this conversation, if you're in a meeting, do your best to not accuse them of lying, not to come out there, because not liars to be faced is very difficult. To face a liar, to confront a liar, it's very difficult for them because one, they've been found out. Now, there are some mature liars, if we can call them that. There are some mature liars who will say, yeah, I was wrong. I shouldn't have said that. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. But how many times do we get that? How many times do they get that? And if you're the kind of person that looks to confront, but your confrontation is very agitated, then I would suggest don't confront. Maybe do find that mediator who can be in that room with you and you can have a conversation, because wisdom is found in a multitude of counsel. So don't put yourself in a predicament where your job is on the line and you're trying to confront this person who is lying, just you and them. And then it becomes heated. It becomes very heated. One of my places, many places that I've worked, they had a situation where there was sadly something, life was taken. This employee, I'm stuttering because I want to make sure I don't say anything too sensitive, but there was an employee who decided to end their life. And when they came back from lunch, they came back with things that could cause harm to someone else. And they actually did some things. I'm trying to be just politically correct here. They did some things and left some families without family members. But the reason behind, not but, like it made an excuse for it, it was discovered. The reason behind this person's actions was because the supervisor, their manager, was not telling the truth. They felt that their manager was misrepresenting this person's work and felt that their job was on the line. And that's what they resulted to, was feeling that their back was against a wall. I can only assume. And these are the actions that they had to take to defend themselves, because they didn't feel like, from the stories that were told, that they were represented and that they were being thrown under the bus, and it was going to cause some blowback on their position, and possibly not having employment of such, or bonus, or things that would interfere with the financial goals that this person had. So this is, even though we can kind of chuckle a little bit about this happening in the workplace, we also have to be sensitive in knowing that it is a very real thing. So if you are going to throw someone under the bus, or if you're going to tell a lie, or being untruthful about the whole story, or not take the blame for something and put it on someone else, this day and age, we have to be very, very careful of how we handle it, and how we confront it. So, but there's something that you have to be uh, aware that there is still the opportunity in the workplace. Since we're not, a lot of us are still not in brick and mortar going into the office. You have Zoom, so I'm sure there's, not saying less interactions like this, but it's a little different. You know, you can turn your camera off now. You can kind of detach yourself. You can answer by email. You don't have to have face to face. So I think we have a little bit more wiggle room to work through working with someone that we're having a disagreement with. But it's still important that you understand that there is, this is real. And so lying on someone, or lying on someone or being lied on, is both detrimental in many ways. So we have to be very, very mindful. So if you have been lied on, you can consider reporting it up, you know, having your manager, supervisor, or someone else coming in and helping you understand what is happening, meaning you're not going in there accusing, but you are definitely asking for clarification or insight. You're asked to be coached on it. Like, what should I do? What are my next steps? And that is a way of you're making that person that you are bringing into the situation aware of what to do. So it's not just, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to handle it. It is asking someone with a little bit more authority or insight, not just authority, but some insight, that what is my next step? You can go ahead and gather the evidence, you know, keep that CYA folder, that cover your ass folder, and keep it to where there is some type of logging of what's been transpiring, right? You can document your interactions. Meeting this day, met this long, this is what's said. Recapping your meetings, recapping what's happened, who was in the room, who heard it. If it's now an email, saving emails. If it's a recording, saving the chats and things like that. So making sure that you can really keep your best interests at heart, as well as the company's best interests at heart. Because if you're seeing the inconsistencies, if you are seeing the lies, or you're seeing the disruption, what do you want to make sure that you have it recorded. HR, going to HR, some say that's your last resort. Do you touch it? So remember this, HR still works for the company. So what you are feeling, what you're experiencing, the HR is the company's representation. So think about that. Not saying you don't talk to HR. I'm just saying, think about what can they do? Where are their hands tied? Uh, who are they who's paying their check? I'll put it that way, and I'll move on. Who is paying their check? So you just want to make sure, if it is a problem, if someone's lying, don't lose your cool. Stay as much in your leadership zone as you can. Even if you say, I'm not a leader, you have some leader in you, and you have to tap into that person at the moment, because you causing a rift can throw your course off, and you know where you want to go, you know what you want to be, you know what you have to do, and you're not going to let this roadblock, you're not going to let this bump in the road take you off course. It is not worth it. It is not worth it. Even if someone's mean to you, say they're not even lying, but they're mean or they're disrespectful, you got to count the cost. Like, what do you want? Messing with, fighting with them, and it becomes a big thing, and everyone's written up, or something goes into your file, and then something comes up for a promotion and you're not considered because you haven't learned how to get along with your colleagues, and you don't know the right people that are going to keep you in. So think about your future, and not so much focused on the present moment in this workforce. Think about where you're going. Think about, do you need to switch up your plan? Think about how you can keep your head on straight. Think about what really truly works for you. Think about who you need to talk to. Think about who's going to give you some really good direction, because that's important too. Very important. Not that person who's going to say, hey, me and you, we can take care of this. No, you really want someone who's going to help you get to that higher level. And that's the goal in all that you do. So when we think about professional issues of lying in the workplace or on the job or wherever you are, we cannot overlook the personal strategies that are necessary too, because it happens in your personal life. There's lies happening, there's things said, people misinterpret a lot of actions. Um, People do. People can, think of things that you're like, there's no way. Why would you? But it happens because we're human and no one's perfect. There is this other quote that says, a thief is a man in need, a liar is a man in fear. A liar is a man in fear. So if we have to lie, because we've all lied, when we lie, we know the root of it is usually that fear, that insecurity. So if someone is lying on you, do you think that you can have empathy? Hmm? Do you think you can have empathy? Not saying that lying should be excused, but can you get some understanding about that lying person? Okay, and if like I'm pausing for the response, even though I can't hear you, but if you can't, then is it necessary to distance yourself to protect you mentally and emotionally? Okay. So there's those choices. You can be empathetic. You can understand. Now, that doesn't mean that you are, I can't really tell you how to act, but empathetic does not necessarily mean that you just take it. Empathetic means you understand it, but doesn't mean you put up with it. Now, you can still be around that person. The dynamics can change. That's that. But then you can also say, I just don't have the space, the bandwidth to deal with this kind of lying, whether it's work, whether it's family, because it really is that trust. Is the trust missing? So let's talk about the root causes of lying. That's fear of punishment, fear of rejection, fear of negative consequences. And then there's that self-preservation, that defense mechanism to protect yourself from harm, from embarrassment, from shame. It's like those guys that lie and say they slept with a girl and they didn't, but yet it's because they've been teased and they want to prove that they've done it. Okay, or a girl lying and saying that they've been with the guy and they really haven't, but that self-preservation that they need to fit in. So you lie out of fear that you're not going to fit in. You lie for gain. You lie because you want to get that money. You lie because you want to socialize in another crowd. You lie because you want to fit in, because you're insecure. You want to enhance your self-image. You want to have a better look. So you lie. You're suffering, right? Then it's some people, it could be a habit. Have you ever been around a habitual liar that someone just can't stop lying for the life of them? For the life of them, they cannot stop lying. And they disrupt everything and everyone around them, because you never know what is really coming out their mouth. Is that the truth? Like, are you just making up a story so you can sound like this? Or you just want someone to give you attention so that you feel like not telling the truth and you can't sustain it, right? Yeah, they can't sustain it, but yet they do their best too. And I know you got to know it eats them up inside. It eats them up to lie. It eats them up, even though they don't say anything. So if you ever relied on and they never come clean, if they're in their good mental state, it does bother them. It does. So I don't know if that makes you feel better. I don't know if you just believe the best is still going to happen to your life, and I hope you do, because lies are nothing but maybe arrows. They may hit, but if it's a lie, you can move on. You can move on in your work. You can move on in your personal life. You can move on in the things that you aspire to do, because the lie is something most of the time to get you off of your game, to steal your game. When I work with my clients and someone has lied on them, the professionals, they got everything going, they're making some great money, and a lie or mistreatment comes up. Me as their coach, I cannot let them stop there. We can talk about it, but we cannot build camp around a lie that is not truth. So don't build your world around someone's lie about you. I think about taking Spanish I think I was in junior high, and I tell this story quite often. And I feel like this is a little different. I'm going to tip over and call this a lie, but I had this teacher telling me in Spanish, you're never going to do good at this. You're never going to succeed at Spanish. And to me, I was like, why would you even tell a student that? Right? Whatever. But I went on and went all the way up to AP Spanish, right? And could read it, I still can read it a little bit and speak it, and I can understand it. I'll try a little bit if it's necessary. But to me, I know it's a different way I'm playing online, but some of us are even believing those kind of lies of people who told us of what we can't do, what we're not made of, what we will never achieve. Now, I don't know where Miss Reinhardt is, but I know one thing, that Mr. Fuentes, he was able to teach that class. All those years, we always wanted him, and I had him for all those years. I think we took him for 4 years, and I knew Spanish. So really, was it her inability to be able to teach me? So really, it was on her and maybe I frustrated her. I sparked some insecurity in her because she felt like, you're never going to get this. No, you were not the person to help me get it. So don't ever believe anything that someone says about you, because 9 times out of 10, if you don't register it and you just keep going, it will not stick, and don't let it stick. Yeah. I may not speak fluent Spanish right now, but I'm proud that I got some A's in Spanish, regardless of what someone said about me. So think about those kind of lies that you are still holding today. Think about it. So how do you spot a liar? Some say, they over explain, or they don't give you enough information. They don't make eye contact. They're fidgety. But there are some liars out there now. They're very good. They don't fidget. I think they read like what a liar is, and they learn how to do an extra. But even if you can't read a liar, someone still throws you off if they're a liar in work or in your personal life. The real goal is to move on. The real goal is to stay who you are. The real goal is to have your strategy of what you're going to do about this lie. Not that if you can fix it, great. If you can't, what's the strategy? What is in you that's going to be pulled from to help you get to the other side of this lie? Another STR, resilience. We have to be resilient in this world. Things come at us from every unexpected angle. And then you got to remain optimistic. Yes, I am using the acronym, but I totally mean it. This is like this way that has helped me through the years and helped clients to just understand, okay, I need to be strong. I need to have a strategy. I need to understand what innate skill or learned skill I can use to get to this other side of this. I got to be resilient. Yes, I want to give up. Yes, it hurts. Yes, I am down and out. And yes, I feel alone, but I'm going to bounce back, right? And I'm going to remain optimistic in this. I'm going to believe the best intentions. Maybe I can't always believe it about the person who's lying, but I can believe the best about myself. And even if I deserved this treatment, I'm stretching it. I don't know if you deserve it, but even if you feel that way, you gotta still move on and be optimistic that it is also not going to disrupt your career path. It is not going to disrupt your life. That's optimism. Glass to half full, right? It is not going to take away from what you want and what you need and what you require in your life. So understand that lies come, but you have to build resilience. You have to practice that self-care to help yourself build yourself back up. You have to have that silent time, silence. Stop talking about it. If someone's lying on you, stop talking about the lie. Just stop. Don't fan the flame of the lie. You handle it the way you handle it. If it's handled and if it's taken a process, just don't fuel the fire with it. Don't fuel the fire. Don't. But you need to protect yourself mentally and emotionally. If that means removing yourself, remove yourself. If that means standing your ground and understanding that, hey, I got my sword in one hand, but I'm working with the other, figure out how to harmonize your life to where you can still keep going. Still keep going. The biggest thing as well, I don't know if I said that already, but another big thing is to make sure that you stay in integrity. You get a fresh start every day to be honest and stay in integrity. Trust yourself with some trustworthy people. Find ways to have that open and honest communication. Understand that your behavior is important. And even if you slip up and you were the liar, maybe you can't go back and say sorry. Maybe you can't change it, but you can change from this day on. And you can make that promise that you will not be that person who is going to be disrupting someone else's path with lies just because you're dealing with insecurity and you're dealing with fear. All right. All right. It is no easy feat, whether you've been lied on or you are the liar, but it is a way of understanding that you can change or you can still move forward. All right, this is Dr. Carla Michelle. I'm going to sign off and I thank you for tuning in to the Strong Network podcast. Remember that we are here on YouTube, on all your podcast platforms. I would love for you to subscribe and follow wherever you're listening and also share it with someone who may need this. All righty, I will see you soon and stay strong.